Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another one of our episodes of Ask a Care Manager. My name is Ryan, and I'm joined with Teresa Jackson, our Director of Care Management Services. We work for Easy Living, which is a home care and care management agency serving the Tri-County area, Pinellas, Pasco, Hillsborough, for over 20 years. And we do a weekly video series that we try to ask some questions about what care management does, some hot topics that are going on, especially during this pandemic, that people are kind of asking about and things that people should be thinking about. And we try to answer those questions that we have. So with this week's topic, we had put a blog on our website about advanced directives, which is basically things like a living will, do not resuscitate order. So a lot of people are starting to look at those things. And we've gotten some questions and some responses from our blog page about questions like that. So Teresa, I know with Care Management Services, one of the things you guys help do are look at things like advanced directives, help people review their documents. So I guess the biggest question right now is, is what is the difference between a living will and do not resuscitate order, or commonly known as a DNR? So explain the difference between those two to us. So
Ryan, that's an excellent, it's a very important question. Sure. Because, well, first let me say, if you saw episode 1, you know that I'm not a doctor and you know that I'm not an attorney. So I'm not giving legal advice and I'm not giving medical advice. But what I do as a care manager, and what care managers do, is we help guide the families to make sure they understand their situation fully, so then they can make the best decision for them. Because every situation is going to be different. And there, over my career, so many times I have sat down with clients to go over their paperwork to find out, do they have their advanced directives in place? And that your advanced directives are your living will, power of attorney, healthcare surrogate. Some folks will include a pre-need guardian, and then again, as you mentioned, a do not resuscitate order. So I will be explaining the purpose of the documents, and I'll explain the purpose of a do not resuscitate order. And they go, oh, I've got that. Yeah, we did that, and it's been in my filing cabinet for 12 years. And so really the living will is, and I have, because I really want to make sure people understand that this is a simple living will, and it will state that I, being of sound mind and body, that if I have a terminal condition, or if I have an end-stage condition, or if I am in a persistent vegetative state, that you direct that life-prolonging procedures be withheld. And this is more or less what somebody's wishes are. And if they get to the point where they're not able to make decisions and tell the doctors what they want or do not want, then hopefully they have, including in their advanced directives, they have chosen a healthcare surrogate that can help make those decisions. So again, where the confusion often comes up is they think that this means if their heart stops, they will not be given CPR. But this is a DNR, and it has to be on yellow paper. And basically, this is a doctor's order that states, based on informed consent, I, the undersigned, hereby direct that CPR be withheld or withdrawn. So this says, if my heart stops, I don't want to have CPR. Now, my situation is going to be different than yours and everybody else's out there, and a person's situation can change, especially with COVID-19, with this pandemic that we're in. I might have a DNR that says I don't want CPR if I'm in a terminal state, but COVID-19 might not be a terminal state for me. Sure. So I might be able to survive it. And the most important thing is to, one, you review your documents. You know what they say. Too often I will find clients that their healthcare surrogate was their sister, or the client's, 90 and her sister was, 92.
Mm-hmm.
And she's not really able to help her at this point in time. You always want to have a backup.
And review them constantly, probably on a regular basis. So.
Exactly. The verbiage that was put in these documents 10 years ago, it's probably changed. And also the best and most important advice would be to have a conversation. Have a conversation with your family. Have a conversation with your healthcare surrogate that you have chosen, to say, if it's this situation, then, maybe I do want you to do a feeding tube. What if I have a stroke and you don't know what the end game's going to be?
Sure.
Or in a car accident and I'm not able to feed myself or eat. Yeah, I want a feeding tube until we see how far I can rehab back and at what point. So it's a very gray area, and it's very difficult. It's very difficult for a healthcare surrogate to make these decisions for somebody when they've never had a conversation with them about it. And it's a hard,
yeah, I was going to say, it's no one wants to talk about your death or a family member's death. And it's not an easy conversation, but I think it's super important to have those. And I know that even at a young age, you should have these things laid out, these, what your wishes are, or who's going to be your healthcare surrogate, because I've heard a story before where a child was 18, he just turned 18, still in high school, still living with his parents, got into an accident where he was incapacitated, but his own parents could not make decisions for him because he was technically an adult. And they were so frustrated because he just had turned 18, but it was because of the way things are written. The parents really couldn't make a decision for him. I mean, until they went through basically, guardianship court and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's never too early to determine someone to help make your decisions for you, or decide what your wishes are going to be.
That's so very true. And again, this is where an aging life care manager can sit down and advise the family. This is where we advise our clients just to make sure they have everything in place and together, and it's accessible. If I'm your healthcare surrogate, Ryan, don't have that document in the filing cabinet, next to your bed locked, and I have no access to it.
Yep.
So I need to have a copy of that. Because of course it's going to happen on a Saturday night when, all businesses are closed. Everybody thinks, well, it's at my attorney's office.
Yeah.
Well, your attorney is not going to be able to give you a copy of it on a Saturday at 2:00 in the morning. And
I think one of the biggest cases, or most infamous cases that we've heard of, that is the Terri Schiavo case, which happened right here in Florida, where the husband was trying to make one decision, the family was trying to make another decision about her health outcome, whether they wanted to end, to basically end life support systems or not. And it got escalated all the way up into a huge court mess, and it became national media. And not to say that everyone's situation is going to be like that, but that's exactly what we're trying to avoid by setting these documents up ahead of time, is that your wishes are your wishes. They're documented, they're signed, sealed, and delivered. There's no argument basically about that point of what you want to be done with yourself or from your family member.
This is true. And keep in mind, even if I've signed a DNR, I can change my mind. This is not set in stone. But if I do want it to be honored, I better make sure that the EMS that's knocking on my front door can find it. And a good place is put it on your refrigerator.
Yes.
So, and to keep a file of this information, who your healthcare surrogate is, and that information close by. I always recommend like a red folder, put it on top of your refrigerator, put this on your refrigerator. You might say, well, I gave a copy of it to my doctor, because this has to be signed by your doctor. And if you think, well, you gave a copy of it to your doctor, well, if you get sent to the emergency room, it's very doubtful that it's your primary care physician that's going to be treating you in the emergency room on a Saturday night.
Yep. So awesome. Well, thanks, Teresa. I really appreciate you laying out the difference between the two of them and letting us know how important it really is to get those documents taken care of. And like I said, it's not an easy conversation, but it's definitely a conversation that people need to have. So for any more information about that, you guys can always reach out to us, visit our website, or post comments below, any kind of questions or anything that we'd like that would be to follow up with. And always, we have great blog information on our website. There's a lot of great articles that we put together with our professionals and our experts on there that have a lot of resources that are available. So check out our website. It's www.easylivingfl.com. So thank you so much again for joining us. Thank you, Teresa, for all of your awesome knowledge, as always. I really appreciate it. And we hope to see everyone next week. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Thank you.